Hello everyone and welcome to PHI 1600 Studies in Applied Ethics. My name is Dave Monroe. I'm the South County Chair of the Ethics Department at St. Petersburg College, which means that I supervise the Ethics Department on the St. Petersburg, Gibbs, Seminole, and downtown Midtown campuses. In addition to that, and more importantly, I'm your instructor for this online course. So I wanted to sort of get you guys started off on the right foot. This semester I'm trying something new, which is posting video updates to YouTube as opposed to sending out email updates about things. So once a week, usually on Mondays, what I'll do is I'll send a video link to you guys talking about questions that a number of you had or giving you feedback on assignments that are general and relevant to the whole class rather than narrow and specific feedback to your own assignment. So this is a test run. I want to see what you guys think. So please give me feedback on this throughout the semester, whether you like the videos, whether you hate them, you'd rather just get emails. Makes no difference to me, but I think that one of the big things that online students miss out on is the opportunity to feel like they get to know their professor at all. So I want to bridge that gap and give you guys a chance to sort of have an experience of what it might have been like to be in a class with me. So, at least face-to-face class. Please make sure right off the bat that you review the syllabus and go through the My Courses shell for this class. I know My Courses is new this semester, at least overall here at SPC. Some of you may have had an opportunity in other classes to get an early view of it, but it may be a little bit different from what you guys are used to, so familiarize yourself with the site. Make sure that you carefully review the syllabus. I'm not going to go over any of that stuff right now because you guys can all take the time to go through that yourselves, but there are a number of really important things you want to make note of in the syllabus. First and foremost, know that this class requires proctored testing, so you're going to need to get that set up at some point this semester. So, I know a number of you, because I hear this all the time in my face-to-face classes, a number of you say, what is this ethics class good for? Why should I have to take this? I'm not studying philosophy, I'm not interested in this subject. What I'm really interested in is computer science, so why do I have to take something that's not computer science? Or I'm a student in the College of Business, what does ethics have to do with me? And I want to say something I say often, that ethics, this class, helps you learn things that no other subject, or many other subjects, don't try to get you engaged in, or don't teach you the skills to do. And the skill that I'm talking about now is what we call critical thinking. That's sort of the essence of what this class is all about, which is learning how to become a critical thinker. Some of you may already be critical thinkers, in which case you could still get better, just as with writing. Some of you may have never had any training in critical thinking, in which case this class should be fairly eye-opening. And critical thinking, I think, is the most essential component of being an educated human being. It's a component without which education doesn't really mean much. As a German philosopher named Schopenhauer once put it, you can learn all kinds of things in school, furnish the library of your mind with knowledge from all kinds of books and experiences, but unless you know how those ideas relate together, then it's really, your brain is just a sort of an empty warehouse for other people's thoughts. And that's not something that really shows that you're educated. It's being able to assimilate ideas and think things through for yourself. And that's really the crux of what this class is. It's learning how to think through for yourself about some of the biggest ideas that humankind wrestles with, from the ancient times even to today. So fundamentally, this class is about learning how to think for yourself, which is a really important skill. And I would say it's essential to having a good human life. If you don't really practice thinking for yourself and you get accustomed to just accepting what people tell you as a matter of course, you just assume that what they're telling you is true, then you essentially become a kind of holding tank for their ideas, their ideals, their beliefs, their values, and you essentially just become a non-person in some sense, that you're somebody else's puppet. It's another way of putting it. So learning to think for yourself frees you from the tyranny of other people's ideas. I want you guys to hold that thought paramount. This class is about thinking for yourself, okay? So here's our motto for the class. Never believe anything anyone says unless they give you good reason to believe it. Never believe it unless they can give you good reason. That extends to writing, that extends to the textbook, that extends to anything in life. If someone's trying to sell you on something, they really ought to have good reasons for your buying it. So you may be asking yourself now, why is this class called ethics then if it's about critical thinking? And here's the answer. We're going to use those critical thinking skills to think about, as Socrates once said, the most important questions we can ask. What is it that we get upset about? Why do we bicker? Why do we get angry? Why do we differ amongst one another? Is it on questions of weight? No. That's easily resolvable. We step on a scale and we say, okay, this weighs more than that. Or height or length? No, we can resort to measurement and solve those problems. If it's a difference of calculation, that's easily fixed as well. If we differ about whether 4 plus 3 equals 7, we just break out a calculator if we need to confirm it, or we can just do it ourselves. Anyway, you see the point. Questions of fact have an answer. But questions about value, those are much more difficult to answer. What's just? What's fair? What's righteous? How ought we to live? What's the good life for a human being? Those are the questions that ethics approaches, and the answers aren't nearly so obvious, and, I would argue, vastly more important than whether or not 6 times 6 equals 36, in the grand scheme of things, or at least in terms of a meaningful human life. So we're going to take our critical thinking skills and apply them to these questions about fundamental and important values like good and evil, right and wrong, the just and the unjust, the righteous and the unrighteous, and so on. So throughout the class, we'll explore various answers to questions. What is the nature of good and evil? What is right and wrong? And we'll think about various viewpoints on those things to see if we can't come up with some kind of view of our own about those questions. This isn't a class where we're going to preach to you about what exactly is right and wrong. It's a class about thinking through those ideas for yourself and coming to your own conclusions. Lastly, sort of the end of the course wraps up by thinking about how those two things come together in thinking about your professional life and in other contexts of the world that you live in. So we'll look at professional ethics, we'll talk about ethics in government, and we'll look at some contemporary social issues. But we're going to do so not from the standpoint of our prejudices, but by using the skills that we've developed throughout the class. So we'll start by thinking about critical thinking, we'll learn about ethical theories, and then we'll apply those things. I want to make a promise to you guys now, and that promise is that I will be here for you regardless of whatever questions you guys have. I know it's going to be interesting transitioning to my courses, and that's true for me too, just as much as it is for you guys. I understand the new system pretty well, but I'm going to be working with that. But know that I will answer all emails within 24 hours on the weekdays. On the weekends, it'll be 48. And I think that's a fairly reasonable amount of time. My office is at the St. Petersburg Gibbs campus. You can feel free to drop by anytime. I'm here Monday through Friday. Most days until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Every once in a while I'm off in a classroom teaching or something like that, but I'm generally around. So avail yourselves of my services. I'm here, come in, you don't need an appointment, just drop by. You can get my office phone number off the syllabus. I want you to know that I'm here for you. Any questions you guys have, I can help. If it's a non-academic question about things like registration or financial aid, I can generally point you in the right direction if you have questions about those things too, even though they're not my area of expertise. So, on that note, I want to say I'm really excited that you decided to take this ethics class, and I'm certain that if you put effort into it, you'll get a lot out of it. Welcome to the class. I hope you enjoy.